Hey everyone. Looks like someone's dreaming of a motorhome wine tour through Argentina. Now that's a combo I can get behind: wide open spaces and delicious wine all in one trip. And get this. This isn't just any old wine tour. We're talking Catamarca and La Rioja. Stunning scenery and amazing wines. The brochures look incredible.
Yeah, you don't hear about these regions as much as like Mendoza, but they're producing some seriously interesting wines these days.
Exactly. And from what I'm seeing in these materials, it's not just about the wine. It's like a whole experience.
Right. It's about the journey, the freedom of the open road, and of course those incredible Argentinian landscapes.
I mean, seriously, I'm already picturing myself waking up in a salt flat, surrounded by vineyards with a glass of Malbec in hand. Talk about a dream trip.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of dreams, did you see the part about the hostel bus?
Oh, yeah. Tell me that's not the coolest thing ever. A giant motorhome that fits 12 people. It's like a party on wheels.
And get this, apparently Paul McCartney used it to tour Cordoba after a concert.
Seriously. That just adds a whole other level of cool to this whole thing. Okay, so we've got incredible landscapes, amazing wine, and a rock star approved bus. Tell me more about the people behind this tour. Who are these masterminds who've combined all these awesome elements?
So the main organizers are this couple, Laura and Mariano. They run Argentina Wine Travel, and they've been doing this for over 25 years. They're all about motorhome travel. They've even done it extensively in Europe, and they're clearly passionate about sharing that experience with others.
25 years, that's some serious experience. They must have some incredible stories.
I bet. And then for the actual motorhomes, they've partnered with Van Life Rent. It's run by these two guys, Hernan and Franco. They provide the vans and offer support, especially for first-timers.
Okay, so that's great for people like me who've never actually driven a motorhome before.
Exactly. They've got you covered.
All right, so we've got these passionate tour operators, a range of motorhome options from cozy vans to a rock star bus, and a seriously drool-worthy itinerary. But wouldn't traveling in a caravan kind of limit spontaneity? I mean, part of the appeal of a motorhome is going wherever you want, right?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But the way they've structured this tour is pretty interesting. It's a balance between having a set itinerary and still having flexibility. You hit the key wineries and scenic spots, but there's always room to deviate.
Oh, so it's not like we're on a strict schedule the whole time.
Nope. You can linger longer, explore a bit off the beaten path. It's more about having a framework for the adventure.
I like that. So it's like we have a plan, but we can also go with the flow.
Exactly. And plus, imagine rolling up to a vineyard with a group of like-minded people, sharing stories, comparing notes on the wines. It adds a whole other dimension to the experience.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like having a built-in group of friends who are all into wine. Okay, well, I'm sold. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. This is a 7-day, 6-night tour, right? When and where does it all start?
You got it. 7 days of adventure and wine. It runs from April 5th to the 11th, 2025. And it all kicks off in Carlos Paz, Cordoba. Beautiful city right in the heart of Argentina.
So Córdoba is our starting point, and then we're heading into wine country, Catamarca and La Rioja.
That's the plan. 2 regions that are really making a name for themselves in the wine world.
Now, before we jump into the day-by-day breakdown, I got to ask, what's included in the tour price?
Yeah.
And what are we on our own for? You know, for someone who's used to those all-inclusive resorts, this whole motorhome thing is a bit of a mystery.
I hear you. It's definitely a different way to travel, more adventurous, a little more off the grid. But that's part of the appeal, right?
Absolutely. Okay, so what about the cost?
So the price includes the motorhome rental insurance, all the winery visits, and most of the meals. 3 lunches and 4 dinners are covered.
Okay, so that takes care of a lot of the planning and logistics.
Exactly. But what's not included is fuel tips and a few of the meals, which gives you some flexibility to try local spots.
And also we have the freedom to explore on our own if we want to.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got transportation curated winery experiences, most meals, and even support for newbie motorhome drivers like myself.
It's a pretty sweet deal when you think about it.
It is. All right,
Yeah.
I'm officially ready to hit the road, at least virtually for now. Let's dive into that day-by-day itinerary and see what adventures await.
Let's do it. Day 1, we pick up our motorhomes, either from Van Life Rent or we meet up with the hostel bus crew. And then we're off to our first winery, Bodega del Gredal.
Okay, Bodega del Gredal. I'm already loving the sound of this.
Oh, and get this, we're spending the night in the Salinas Grandes salt flats.
Wait, what? We're sleeping in a salt slag?
You heard right. It's supposed to be incredible. Imagine waking up to a landscape that's pure white stretching as far as the eye can see.
Whoa. Okay, that's pretty epic, I'm not going to lie. So we're kicking off this adventure with a serious wow factor. All right, what about day 2? What does this whirlwind trip have in store for us next?
Day 2 starts with sunrise at Salinas Grandes. Just picture it stepping out of your motorhome onto this vast white expanse and watching the sun paint the sky with these amazing colors.
Okay, that's officially going on my Instagram bucket list.
And then from there, we head towards Catamarca, stopping for lunch at Bodega Perro Guardian in Tinogasta.
Perro Guardian, the guard dog winery. I love it.
Right. It's not just a cool name, though. They're known for their organic and biodynamic practices, really focused on small batch wines that showcase the terroir.
Okay, I'm already impressed.
Yeah.
And after lunch and some wine tasting, where do we end up?
We'll be spending the night at a vineyard in Fiambala, charming little town right at the foot of the Andes Mountains.
So we're going from salt flats to a vineyard stay.
That's the beauty of this trip. It's full of contrasts and surprises.
Okay, well, I am loving this itinerary so far. From the sound of it, this trip is a feast for the senses. Salt flats, mountain views, vineyards, and of course all that delicious wine. What's next on this adventure?
Day 3 is all about exploring the Sais Miles, this incredible chain of mountains that includes some of the highest peaks outside of the Himalayas.
Wow, okay, so we're talking serious mountain scenery here.
Oh yeah, you'll have the whole day to hike, take in the views, maybe even spot some condors soaring overhead.
And after a day of hiking, what better way to unwind than with a soak in some hot springs?
You read my mind. We'll be spending the evening at the Fiambala hot springs. Imagine soaking in those warm, mineral-rich waters under a star-filled sky.
Okay, that sounds like absolute bliss. I'm already feeling relaxed just thinking about it.
And then day 4 gets the adrenaline pumping.
Oh, what do we have in store?
We're heading to the Teton Dunes, these massive sand dunes that are basically a playground for adventure seekers.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What kind of adventures are we talking about?
Sandboarding and 4x4 excursions are on the menu.
Sandboarding. Now, that's something I've always wanted to try.
Imagine carving down those dunes, the wind in your hair, the vast desert landscape stretching out before you.
Okay, I'm in. Sign me up for some sandboarding action.
Oh.
After all that excitement, I'm guessing we'll be ready for some more wine right.
You know it. Day 5 takes us back into wine country. We'll be visiting 2 very different wineries, Veralma and Don Diego.
Ooh, okay. I'm curious. How do these wineries differ?
Well, Veralma is a boutique family-run operation, known for their intimate tasting experiences and small batch wines. Don Diego, on the other hand, is a larger, more modern estate. They're all about innovation, pushing the boundaries of Argentinian winemaking.
So we get to experience both ends of the spectrum, small batch charm and cutting-edge techniques.
Exactly. It's a great way to see the diversity of Argentinian wine.
And where does this wine-filled day end?
We'll be having dinner at Valle de la Puerta Winery in Chilecito, La Rioja, another stunning estate known for its award-winning wines and its incredible setting.
All right, 2 more days left on this epic adventure. What does day 6 have in store?
Day 6 is all about exploring Talampaya National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site that's like stepping into another world.
Okay, I'm getting serious Wanderlust vibes just hearing you describe this.
Imagine these towering red sandstone cliffs sculpted by centuries of wind and erosion. It's a landscape that just takes your breath away.
So we're talking ancient rock formations, canyons, a true sense of awe.
Exactly. And we're not just visiting, we're spending the night there.
We're sleeping in Talampaya National Park.
You got it. Imagine sitting around a campfire under a canopy of stars, sharing stories with your fellow travelers and reflecting on the journey so far.
Okay, you've officially convinced me. This trip is beyond epic.
And then sadly, day 7 is all about the journey back to Córdoba.
Back to reality.
But hey, you'll be leaving with a treasure trove of memories, new friendships, and a newfound appreciation for Argentine wine.
I'm already feeling nostalgic, and we haven't even left yet. But before we get too sentimental, let's step back for a moment. What is it about this tour that makes it so special, beyond the incredible itinerary and the passionate people behind it?
That's a good question. I think it's the balance. This tour strikes a balance between curated experience and individual exploration. You have the guidance of experienced tour operators, but you also have the freedom to personalize the experience.
So it's like they've created a framework for adventure.
Exactly. You're not just passively following a set itinerary. You're actively engaging with the journey, shaping it to fit your interests.
That's a great way to put it. But let's be real. A motorhome wine tour through Argentina isn't exactly a budget vacation.
You're right. It's definitely an investment.
So what would you say to someone who's hesitant about the cost?
I'd say consider what you're getting. A carefully curated itinerary, unique transportation, a sense of community, and access to some of the best wineries in Argentina.
It's not just a vacation, it's an experience.
Exactly. It's about creating memories, forging connections, and expanding your horizons in ways you never thought possible.
I love that perspective. It's not just about ticking off destinations.
It's about immersing yourself in a culture, a way of life, and a passion for wine that runs deep in Argentina.
It's about savoring the journey, embracing the unexpected, and coming away with a newfound appreciation for the simple pleasures of life. Good company, good wine, and the open road.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, well, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the practicalities of driving a motorhome in Argentina. It's not quite the same as hopping in your car and hitting the highway, is it?
It definitely requires a bit more awareness.
But from what I'm seeing in these testimonials,
Yeah.
most people say it's surprisingly similar to driving a car, just with more height and length to consider.
Right. You need to be mindful of your surroundings, but it's not as daunting as it might seem.
And remember, we're traveling in a caravan, so there's always support if needed.
Exactly. Plus, the tour operators, especially van life rent, they're great at working with first-time motorhome drivers.
Okay, that's good to hear. I'm definitely a newbie when it comes to motorhomes. Speaking of which, tell me more about the motorhomes themselves. We've got van life rent and hostel bus. What are the options?
So Van Life Rent offers a range of smaller, fully equipped motorhomes, perfect for couples, families, or small groups.
Those are the ones we saw in the videos, right? Super stylish interiors you can practically cook with a vineyard view.
Those are the ones. And then there's Hostel Bus, which is this massive converted Scania bus that fits 12 people.
Okay, so you can choose between the intimate, independent vibe of the vans or the social, almost tour bus feel of hostel bus.
Exactly. It caters to different travel styles within the same tour.
That's pretty cool. Now, what about the ideal traveler for this trip? Is there a certain type of person who would really thrive on this adventure?
Well, according to Argentina Wine Travel, they're looking for people who are adventurous, obviously love wine, and are seeking a unique and personalized experience.
Makes sense. So people who are open to new experiences.
Exactly. And they also emphasize the sense of community that develops among the group,
Hmm.
especially for first-time motorhome
As
travelers.
you can see that. It's like a built-in support system for those new to the motorhome world.
Right. And let's not forget the freedom of a motorhome. If you see a spot you love, you can stay longer. If you decide to change your route, you can. It's about experiencing the landscape at your own pace.
So before we move on, is there anything else we should know about the tour basics?
Let me think. I think we've covered the key details. The itinerary, the tour operators, the costs, the motorhomes, even the ideal traveler profile.
Perfect. I think we're ready to move on to the next phase of our journey. Let's take a deeper dive into the day-by-day itinerary and unpack all the incredible experiences that await us on this motorhome wine tour through Argentina.
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
Okay, so we've covered the basics of this epic motorhome wine tour through Argentina. But before we hit the road, there are a few practical things we got to talk about. You know me, I love those little details that can make or break a trip.
Absolutely. Planning is key, especially for a unique adventure like this one.
Exactly. And one thing that really stood out to me in the materials was packing. They emphasize packing light, which makes sense when you're living in a motorhome, but it's easier said than done, right?
It definitely takes some discipline, especially when you're used to having more space.
Totally. So any tips for those of us who tend to overpack?
Well, think multi-purpose items, quick drying clothes, things like that. Really focus on what you'll actually need and use.
And remember, laundry facilities are available along the route.
Yeah, you don't need a different outfit for every day.
Okay, good point. Now, what about water? The sources mention stocking up, especially if you're going off the grid.
Oh, yeah, that's crucial. Especially in a region like Catamarca with its remote areas. Having a good supply of drinking water is essential.
Yeah, I can imagine running out of water in the middle of nowhere wouldn't be fun.
Not at all. And remember, you'll need water for more than just drinking, cooking, cleaning, all those little things.
Right. It's always better to have too much than not enough. Okay, so we've got our clothes, we've got our water. What about entertainment? I mean, we're going to be on the road for a while.
Yeah, good point. The sources mention bringing games and movies, things to keep you occupied during downtime.
Yeah, but what about staying connected? What if I need to work remotely or just want to share those amazing photos with everyone?
Ah, the modern dilemma. Here's the thing, though. Mobile internet access can be spotty in some of the more remote areas.
Oh, that's good to know.
So if staying connected is super important, you might want to consider a local SIM card with a data plan.
Okay, good tip. But honestly, part of me kind of likes the idea of disconnecting for a while.
I hear you. Sometimes it's nice to unplug and just enjoy the moment.
Totally. No emails, no notifications, just breathtaking scenery and the open road. Now, speaking of the open road, I have a question about the caravan aspect. What if I see a charming little town along the way and want to explore it? Wouldn't traveling with a group kind of limit that spontaneity?
That's a valid concern. But remember, this tour is designed with flexibility in mind. The itinerary hits the key destinations, but there's always room to deviate.
Oh, so it's not like we're all tethered together the whole time.
Nope. If you see something that interests you, you can always suggest a detour to the group.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
So it's more about collaboration than restriction.
Exactly. And honestly, traveling with a group can actually enhance those spontaneous moments. Imagine discovering a hidden gem with a group of like-minded people, sharing the experience, swapping stories.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Okay, so it's all about communication and being open to suggestions.
Exactly. And speaking of the group, I wanted to touch on the dynamics of traveling in a caravan.
Yeah, that's something I was curious about. It's one thing to chat with fellow travelers at a hotel, but sharing a journey in close quarters is a whole other level,
One thing that came up a lot in the sources was the importance of communication.
especially when you're sharing space and resources.
Absolutely. Being upfront about your needs, preferences, and boundaries can really help.
Yeah, I can see how that would prevent misunderstandings.
It's all about creating a positive and respectful environment for everyone.
Right, it's like a microcosm of community living.
You're sharing space, resources, experiences, so clear communication is key.
But it's not all about logistics, right?
Right.
There's also the social aspect of the chance to connect with like-minded people.
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest benefits of group travel.
Imagine sharing those breathtaking sunsets, those incredible wines, all alongside people who appreciate those experiences as much as you do.
It creates a sense of camaraderie, a shared journey that goes beyond the itinerary.
It's like those friendships you form at summer camp, those bonds that are forged through shared experiences.
Exactly. And it's those connections that often become the most cherished memories.
Okay, well, I'm sold on the group travel aspect, but let's talk safety for a moment. Any tips or insights from the sources about staying safe while traveling in Argentina?
Well, as with any travel destination, it's always a good idea to be aware of your surroundings.
Right. Common sense precautions.
Argentina is generally a safe country, but petty theft can occur, especially in tourist areas.
So just be mindful of our belongings and surroundings.
Exactly. Keep your valuables safe, don't flash your cash, and be aware of your surroundings, especially at night.
And remember, we're traveling in a caravan, which adds an extra layer of security.
Right. There's safety in numbers.
Now, what about driving? Any specific tips for navigating the roads in Argentina? I mean, some of those mountain roads look pretty intense.
Yeah, you definitely want to be aware of the road conditions, which can vary depending on the region.
Okay, so a little pre-trip research is in order.
Definitely. Some routes might involve unpaved roads or mountain passes.
So it's important to drive cautiously and be prepared for anything,
Right. And having some basic mechanical knowledge can be helpful too.
just in case.
And maybe brush up on some basic Spanish phrases.
Always a good idea. But again, it's comforting to know that we're traveling in a caravan, so there's support if we need it.
Exactly. You're never really alone out there.
Now, before we move on, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, the importance of embracing a slower pace of travel. It's so easy to get caught up in the go, go, go mentality. But it sounds like this tour encourages a different approach.
Absolutely. It's about being present in the moment, soaking in the landscape, savoring the wine, connecting with your fellow travelers.
It's like hitting the reset button on our always-on, hyper-connected lives.
Exactly. Trading the hustle and bustle for the tranquility of the open road, the rhythm of nature, the simple pleasures of good company and good wine.
It's about slowing down and really experiencing the journey.
Beautifully put. And with a motorhome wine tour through Argentina, you have the perfect setting to do just that.
Okay, well, I think we've covered the practicalities of this adventure pretty thoroughly. We've talked about packing, staying connected, group dynamics, safety driving, even the philosophical shift towards a slower pace of travel. But let's be honest, the real reason we're all here is the wine.
Ah, yes. The heart and soul of this journey.
So in our next segment, we'll delve into the world of Argentinian wine, exploring the unique terroirs of Catamarca and La Rioja, the wineries we'll visit, and the incredible flavors we'll encounter along the way.
Sounds delicious. I'm ready for a virtual tasting.
Okay, we're back and ready to dive into the good stuff, the wine.
You got it. Time to uncork the world of Argentine wine, and specifically, Catamarca and La Rioja. These two regions, they're really producing some of the most exciting wines in Argentina right now.
And from what I've been reading, these aren't your typical tourist trap wine regions.
Nope. We're going beyond the familiar here, venturing into lesser-known varietals, unique microclimates, and a winemaking philosophy that's all about connection to the land.
Okay, you've officially piqued my curiosity.
Yeah.
Let's start with Catamarca.
Mhm.
What makes this region so special in the world of wine?
Catamarca is all about extremes. High altitude vineyards, some of the highest in the world, actually nestled among these dramatic mountains and deserts.
So we're not talking about your lush rolling vineyards here.
Not exactly. This is rugged terrain, intense sunlight, cool nights, mineral-rich soil. It all comes together to create these wines with a real edge. Vibrant acidity, concentrated flavors, a distinct minerality.
Those extreme conditions sound more like a survival challenge than a grape-growing paradise.
Right, but that's the beauty of it, those harsh conditions. They actually stress the vines, forcing them to produce smaller berries with incredibly concentrated flavors.
It's like the grapes are fighting for survival, and that translates into something truly special in the glass.
Exactly. You get these wines with incredible depth and complexity.
It's amazing how nature works, turning adversity into something beautiful and delicious. So what kind of grapes are we talking about here? Still in Malbec territory or something different?
You'll find some Malbec and Cabernet Sauvignon for sure. But Catamarca is also becoming known for its Bonarda and Syrah, which develop a unique character in this high-altitude terroir.
Oh, interesting. I haven't had much Bonarda or Syrah from Argentina.
And if you're a white wine fan, watch out for Torrontés. It's a grape native to Argentina that produces these aromatic floral wines. With a refreshing acidity, perfect for those warm afternoons, relaxing in the vineyard with a view of the Andes.
Torrontés. Okay, that's going on my list. So we've got these unique high-altitude wines, and we're tasting them right at the source. Tell me more about the wineries themselves. What kind of experiences could we expect on this tour?
You'll get a real mix boutique, family-run operations like Bodega del Gretel, where you can actually meet the winemakers and learn about their traditional methods.
I love that. Getting that personal connection.
Right. And then you have places like Bodega Paraguardian. Remember the Guard Dog Winery? They're all about organic and biodynamic practices.
Yeah, they really stood out to me. Their commitment to sustainability is impressive.
Absolutely. And to round out the Catamarca experience, you'll be spending a night at a vineyard in Fiambala, this charming little town nestled at the foot of the Andes.
Okay, that sounds idyllic. Waking up to a vineyard view. The crisp mountain air, the aroma of grapes.
It's the perfect way to immerse yourself in the wine culture of the region.
All right, Catamarca is officially at the top of my travel bucket list. But we can't forget about La Rioja, the other wine region on this tour. How does it compare to Catamarca?
La Rioja is one of Argentina's oldest wine regions, actually. Its winemaking history goes back to the 16th century. It's a bit warmer and drier than Catamarca, which creates a different terroir. You end up with fuller-bodied, more robust wines.
So we're moving from the bright and lively wines of Catamarca to the bolder, more powerful expressions of La Rioja.
Exactly. It's like a journey through the spectrum of Argentine wine.
Love it. So what kind of wineries are we talking about in La Rioja?
You'll get to experience both ends of the spectrum again. Boutique gems like Veralma, which we mentioned earlier, they're all about quality and tradition. And then you have larger estates like Don Diego. They're known for their innovation pushing the boundaries of Argentine winemaking.
It sounds like this tour is curated to give a real sense of the breadth of Argentinian wine.
Exactly. It's not just about tasting, it's about understanding the people, the processes, the philosophies behind each bottle.
Now, we can't talk about Argentine wine without mentioning the food. What kind of culinary delights can we expect on this tour?
Get ready for a feast. Grilled meats empanadas, regional specialties like locro, which is this hearty stew, and of course those alfajores cookies filled with dulce de leche.
I've heard so much about those alfajor. I can't wait to try them.
They're amazing, especially with a glass of dessert wine.
Oh, yeah. Gotta have those pairings. The salty, savory flavors of Argentine cuisine, they just go so well with those bold, fruit-forward reds.
It's like a symphony of flavors. And remember, you're not just tasting the food, you're experiencing it in its natural habitat, surrounded by the vineyards, the mountains, the culture that shaped those flavors.
And let's not forget that final night, camping out under the stars in Palampaya National Park. Sipping wine, savoring a delicious meal, gazing up at the stars.
It's the perfect ending to an unforgettable journey.
Well, I think we've covered it all. The stunning landscapes of Catamarca and La Rioja, the world of high-altitude wines, the incredible food, the freedom of motorhome travel, the joy of shared experiences, and the importance of slowing down and savoring the journey.
We've really delved into the heart of this adventure.
So are you ready to embark on your own Argentinian wine odyssey? Check out Argentina Wine Travel's website, explore the itinerary, and see if this tour is calling your name. And as always, happy travels.